Hello friends, welcome to Dr. Ossai Physiology Academy, DOPA for short. This is the place where we make the learning of physiology easy, exciting, and effective. Thank you for joining me. And if you're new to this channel, you're especially welcome. And if you love the content that we share, kindly click the like button and also the subscribe button. And don't forget to turn on notifications so that you don't get to miss any new content that we share. All right, so let's get started. So today we are starting from the very beginning. The genesis, an introduction to what? Physiology. So we're going to be learning what physiology is all about. All right. Now, physiology. First of all, it's a basic medical science. It's a brother to anatomy and to biochemistry. Learn them together. Are called the basic medical sciences. So if you are doing anything health related, study anything health related, medical related, you need the knowledge of physiology as a basis for your further study. Those in nursing sciences, in medicine, in dentistry, medical rehabilitation of physiotherapy, radiography, and so on and so forth. They all need the knowledge of physiology. So physiology it's a life science or a biological science. Okay? So bio means life. It's a life science. That means the science that studies life. But in a different way from, there are so many biological sciences. So we want to see how special, how unique the study of physiology is to these different disciplines that I just mentioned, and so many more I did not mention. Okay? So now, what is physiology? Now we're going to define it because that will help us. That will give us a good starting point to everything we're going to be discussing. Pay very good attention and we're going to relate it to what is life. Very interesting. Now, physiology is the study of the mechanisms of body functions. Pay attention to this definition. Physiology is the study not just of functions. A lot of people know the aspect of, the study of functions, but it goes beyond that. Now we know that the eyes is for seeing. Every lay person knows that. You know that the mouth is for tasting food, for talking and all of that. The hand is for walking and all of that. The heart pumps blood. But basic, everybody knows about function. But then we are talking about beyond just the function, but the mechanisms. So these are the two key words about physiology. Now, first of all, we are talking about function. What exactly do you mean? You know, function is a common word, English word, but now let us break it down a little further. It has to do with the operations of something, the workings. Okay? Talks about the activities and actions that lead to a particular result, that yields a particular outcome, that achieves a specific particular purpose. Okay, that's what function is talking about. Actions, operations, activities that are all together in a coordinated fashion, leading to what? Particular outcome, purpose, result. Okay? Then now, there are another operational word, keyword, mechanism. The mechanisms. Mechanism has to do with processes. So not only are you talking about the different actions that lead to a particular result or a purpose, achieve something, but you are talking about the processes. How does it achieve that? So you go deeper. Whenever you're talking about the processes, the how-to of how something results, you need to break it down. You need to see beyond what the ordinary person will see. That's what it's talking about, processes. Okay? So you are with your phone. You are using your phone. You know how to operate your phone. Quite all right. That means you are using your phone to function. You're performing several activities, typing and all of that. But it doesn't mean that you know exactly how that phone functions, the processes, the mechanisms. That's for the manufacturer, the computer scientists. They study, and computer engineers, they study deep. There are so many components inside. When you open the phone, you see so many connections, so many components, and then certain principles and all of that make it function. Thousands of it so that's what processes is talking about. So when you talk about processes, you go down to the smallest nitty-gritty of detail. Without that, you cannot understand how something functions. So that's what physiology is talking about. It's not just talking about how things function. If you want to talk about how the eyes function in terms of vision, it goes beyond the physical eyeball that you see. Yeah, you close your eyes, open your eyes. No, it goes beyond. And I mentioned something that you have to go down to the smallest detail to see the different components that are implementing and performing such actions. All these things, the actions, the operations, the activities, they are performed by something. So under processes, something is carrying out those processes and actions. And the components, the units, entities. Okay? So, for biological systems and processes, the very smallest unit that is capable of intelligently performing different operations and activities and actions to yield a specific purposeful result. The smallest unit that does that is called the cell. I'm sure you've heard about cell before in biology. Okay? So the cell is the smallest structural and functional unit of life. Okay? So physiology starts first and foremost with studying and looking into the cell. Without the knowledge of the cell, you can't have physiology. Okay? So this is talking about general physiology. We are starting with general physiology, principles and things and processes that apply, that are applicable to every part of the body, to all the different types of cells. We'll be going deeper and broader, okay? But we're going to learn the basic things about the cell, which is the smallest component that carry out these operations that bring about the outcome, which we call function. Okay? So now, body functions. Just as you see a house, a very huge, mighty, big house that has been built. When we ask you, what is this house made up of? The walls, especially the pillars. Apparently, when you look at it, it doesn't look like that house is actually made up of grains of sand. That's the smallest unit It's made up of blocks, and those blocks is made up of sand mixed with water, mixed with cement that joins them together and becomes the wall that makes up the structure of the house, which is the basic entity of the house. And then you plaster it and so many other things. So the same thing, billions and trillions of cells plastered and cemented together in blocks, in different layers of organization, makes up this whole body that you see. All right. So now the next thing we're going to be asking ourselves is, what are those characteristics that make up life? We're going to be entering this next big question. What is life? Okay? Because those characteristics, they are what forms what I call the 7 pillars and purposes of life. Biological life, to be more specific. So that is 7 pillars, the 7 purposes. So when I talk about the body functions, you can broadly divide it into those 7 areas. And those are characteristics that really make up life. And they are all performed by the cell. And when you scale it up to the whole body, they are performed by the body. Okay? So we're going to be defining life. We're going to be looking at those characteristics. Don't go anywhere after this break. Right, welcome back. So now we've talked about all of this, the different processes, components, and that the cell is the smallest component that implements, that brings about this action, that carries about these actions, activities, operations, that leads to outcome. But why are we saying it is the smallest unit of life? Why not something else? Okay? So what exactly is life characterized by? What exactly can we say life is all about? Biological life that makes it different from every other processes and operations that go on. Your fan is turning, it's operating, it's carrying out a process, it's leading to a function. Okay, it's cooling you. But why is it life? No. Is it living? No. So what is it that the cell has that say, yes, these are the things that it needs to have for us to call it that it is life? We're going to be defining life. But before we do that, those basic 7 purposes, I will mention them. You know it before, but now we're going to be looking at it from a physiological perspective. We'll still be mentioning it as we go on. It's called the acronym Mr. Niger. I'm sure you are very familiar with it. Okay? So this is movement, respiration, nutrition, irritability, growth, excretion, reproduction. You know that already. Okay? So these are 7 characteristics of life, of the cell, that the cell needs to have for us to say, yes, truly, it is life. Okay? So a cell is the smallest entity, is the smallest unit, the smallest structure that has all of these things in it. That's why we call it as the smallest big, and that's why we are focusing on the cell. It can move, it can respire. So we're going to be learning all of these things. What is respiration? What is nutrition? What is irritability? The ability to respond to stimuli and so on, to changes in the environment. Excretion, take out what is not needed. Reproduction, to give rise to its kind in its fullness, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now, what exactly is life? We will not end properly without really defining life. Because now you see a human being just died. Person is lifeless. We call it a body, corpse. What differentiates that corpse that just died now, just probably 30 minutes ago, from you that is still alive and standing and well, walking and moving up and down? It's not because you can walk. It's not because you can breathe. There is something that is fundamental for us to say this is life, biological life. It is not when the spirit leaves. That's no, we're not talking about, that's religion, spirituality. Believe that once the spirit leaves, then the life has left. No, we're talking about from the biological, natural principles and ideas. Okay, from biological perspective. Now we're going to define it, because inside that definition lies a lot of insights that we need as we go ahead to study physiology. Okay? All right. So, life is an organized, it's an organized system of what? Chemical processes. Very interesting. It's an organized system of chemical processes that uses energy in a self-sustaining way. All right? This is definition. Biological life. Look at it very carefully. Life is an organized. It is organized. It's not scattered. It's a system. Okay? That means there is a repeatable process that is predictable. Of chemical processes, this is very important. Everything is made up of chemical. You thought that you are done with chemistry. No. We're going to be looking at chemistry from the biological point of view. That's why there's a course known as biochemistry. Chemistry is the foundation of everything life. Chemical processes, chemical reactions. A lot of all these activities that you are seeing, they are all chemical processes. We are going to be learning about the major underlying principles of physiology, about 7 of them. That's in the part 3 of this whole introductory lecture. Okay? That uses energy. Energy is physics. We are not done with physics yet. We're going to be talking about different forces that play a role, that power these chemical processes. Okay? That lead to the function in a self-sustaining way. What do you mean by self-sustaining? That means you don't need any external thing, anything to direct it. It directs itself. Okay? It has been programmed to continue to repeat itself and sustain itself till eternity. It just continues. Okay? That's what it's all about. So this is life. Anything that is organized like this in the chemical processes, and energy is using it. It's using energy, extracting energy, converting it to different forms and using it to power processes that are repeatable continuously. That is life. All right. So this is the definition of life. And this brings us to the end of part 1. In the part 2, we're going to be focusing more on this organization, the organization of life. These are very basic foundational things you need to know in physiology. Right, so I've written a book on general physiology made ridiculously simple. A lot of all these ideas are there and so much more for further reading. Okay, so and many other books in physiology, about 7 of them at the time of this recording. So you check the link in the description box. You see a lot of all these books, the links there, both to the soft copy and to the hard copy if you want the hard copy. Also in the description box is a link to our website. Okay, so click the link and it will take you to our website to show you all the things that we do to make the learning of physiology easy, exciting, and effective. See you in the next video.